Alrighty, gang. Today we are looking at our fraction concept notes, and we're looking at lesson number 5, which is about the least common multiple. So this is related to what we did yesterday. Yesterday we found the greatest common factor. Today we're finding the least common multiple, which we refer to as the LCM. So first we need to know, what does a multiple even mean? A multiple is basically the answer to a multiplication problem. It's your product. So we're trying to find the smallest number that is a multiple of two or more numbers. So just like yesterday, we have some different methods we can use to find. The first thing we can do is make a list of our multiples. So let's make a list of our multiples of 8. We're always going to just list the first 10. So I have 8, 16, 8 times 3, 8 times 4, 8 times 5, 8 times 6, 8 times 7, 8 times 8, 8 times 9, 8 times 10. So those are my first 10 multiples of 8. First 10 multiples of 6 would be 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3, 6 times 4, 6 times 5, 6 times 6, 6 times 7, 6 times 8, 6 times 9, 6 times 10. So these is a really good review for our multiplication facts. Multiples of 4. 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 4 times 3, 4 times 4, 4 times 5, 4 times 6, 4 times 7, 4 times 8, 4 times 9, 4 times 10. Okay, so that's the first step. List out my multiples. Now I'm looking for, yesterday we were looking for the biggest number in common. Today we're looking for the smallest number. So I usually like to start with my biggest number first. So I'm looking for, do I see an 8 anywhere else? No. Do I see a 16? Only down here. It's got to be between all three of them. Here's a 24. I have a 24, a 24, a 24. So what's my least common multiple going to be? You got it. My least common multiple is 24. That's the smallest number they have in common. Do I have any more numbers that they have in common in my first 10 multiples? I don't think I do. So my least common multiple of 8, 6, and 4 is 24. All right, so let's do another together problem here. So let's make a list. I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 4, 8, and 12. Those are my multiples. Where's the smallest number that I see in common? 12 and 12, least common multiple, equals 12. Let's do 7 and 9. So I've got 7, 14, 7 times 3, 7 times 4, 7 times 5, 7 times 6, 7 times 7, 7 times 8, 7 times 9. Okay. I want you to be counting these in your head with me, okay? 9 times 1, 9 times 2, 9 times 3, 9 times 4, 9 times 5, 9 times 6, 9 times 7. It's the smallest number in common, 63. Least common multiple is 63. Now you're going to do the you try problem, so go ahead and hit pause, and I'll be back with the answer. All right, we should have multiples of 12 written down. You can check those. Multiples of 8 written down. You can check those. We see that our least common multiple, so the smallest multiplication factor that's in common between 8 and 12, is going to be 96. And again, that's if we make a list. Another method that we can use is to, guess what? Use my favorite, a factor tree. So let's make a factor tree for 15, which would be 3 and 5. Those are both prime numbers, so I can circle both of those. Factor tree for 8 would be 2 times 4, 2 times 2. So I have 3 times 5 and 2 times 2 times 2. So I've written out the prime factorization for each number. Circle the factor in the row where it appears most often. So tell you what, this is what we're going to do. we're actually going to write out the prime factorizations right below each other. So I'm looking to see, where does the number 2 appear most often? It appears most often in this row, so I circle all of my 2's. Where does the 3 appear most often? Right here, so I circle the 3. Where does the 5 happen the most often? In this row, because there's 1, so I circle that. Now I multiply all of my circled factors together. So I have 3 times 5, which is 15, so I'm essentially going to be doing 15 times 8, which would give me 120. So my least common multiple between 15 and 8 is 120. So when is it a good idea to use a factor tree to find the least common multiple? When my multiples get really big and they're not basic facts, using a factor tree is going to become fairly important. So you're going to go ahead and hit pause, and you're going to try the next U-try problem here, and I'll be back with the answer. All right, so let's take a look at the U-try problem. I've got my factor tree, so my prime factorization for 12 is 2 times 2 times 3, which is right here. Prime factorization for 8 is 2 times 2 times 2. So now I'm looking for, where does the 2 occur the most? There's 3 2's right here, so I circle those. And then where does the 3 occur the most? Right here, so I circle it. If there's a tie, just circle it in one row if there's a tie. So if I had a 3 down here, I would just need to circle one of those 3's one time. All right, so then I'm going to multiply all of my circled numbers. So I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. I broke that up into saying 2 times 2 and 2 times 3, which is 24. 4 times 6 is 24. So my least common multiple between 8 and 12 is 24. And remember, when is it going to be good to use a factor tree? When I know that my numbers are going to be large and I'm not going to be able to make a list. I don't want to make a list of all of my multiples of 15 or 8 up until 120. That's out of my comfort zone. So I'm going to use a factor tree then. All right, we'll do the stamp page at school tomorrow for finding the least common multiple. Until then.